Welcome to the Work in Real Life podcast. I'm Marcus Verrell.
And I'm Jenny Winspear.
This week, we're going to be talking about everything that's happened in 2024 and a few predictions for 2025. We're well aware we haven't done a podcast in about 8 months. Has it been?
Too long.
Yeah, we've been slacking a little bit, but we've been busy.
And we're going to tell you why we've been busy, so that's exciting.
So how's business been going for you?
Business has been interesting this year. We've opened up new service lines. We've been doing more consultancy work as well in the space, and we've been branching into the UK. So it's been a really busy year.
All systems go.
Yeah, it really has. But I think it's nice being in the tech industry because we've been able to kind of adapt and innovate. And I've definitely learned loads about like what the market needs and how to respond to that. So
a year of learning.
Yes, a year of learning.
Well, and winning awards.
And yes, I won awards.
What was it? Just the one? I feel like
just the one.
Was it just the one? Would you like to tell the audience the award that you won?
I think we won 2 awards this year.
Well, you personally?
I personally won the IOD Startup Director of the Year, which is very exciting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we also, as a business, won the Creative Digital Award for Digital Jersey.
Oh, very good.
I know that was in April. That feels like...
Do you want to say any more about like what you did to win that? So
the Creative Award was it was for an AI-based presentation. So we used AI to create a script, and then we refined it, obviously using a person because AI sucks if you don't have a person making it better. And then we used an AI video maker to draft like some short, sharp presentation stuff. And it was all about, it was like the Black Mirror of workplace wellbeing.
Oh, I saw. Yes, I remember this.
So it was quite dark, but for workplace wellbeing, which is usually like nice and friendly, it was very dark.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
That's exciting. And then the one you won yourself.
Yeah, the Startup Director of the Year.
Yeah.
I just keep saying.
Where's the trophy? I'm surprised you didn't bring the trophy on set. No.
I should have brought it in and positioned it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never won an award.
Oh, tell me about your year. I feel like I'm bored to talk about
it. My year. I mean, basically, it was a very adult year for me. Okay. Got married.
So adult.
Bought a new car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was $4,000 down the pan. Also, what did I do? Started journaling.
Nice.
Which is quite good.
I've been thinking about doing that recently.
It's great. Actually,
what do you do? Do you do like positive affirmations?
So my exercises are, which are great for anyone if you want to try at home. So I do 3 things I'm grateful for in the morning.
That's the one I like.
When I wake up, I do a what went well yesterday.
Okay.
Which is good, especially if you're like trying to learn things.
Yep.
Do daily intentions. So I'm like things I'm going to try and do today, which pretty consistently is listen more.
Okay.
Because I'm a waffler.
Okay. I'll keep you to check on that one then.
Yeah.
Listen.
And then what's the other? Then I do. I've also started doing in that journaling process in the morning because I've been reading a lot more. I do like if I've read anything and I find a word that I don't know, I've been doing like word or 2 of the day.
Okay, nice.
Which is great, and I have a little process of like writing them out 3 times, writing out the description from the like dictionary or Google, and then put them in a sentence that I've written myself about the same thing.
This is so academic of you.
Absolute growth.
I know, it's such growth.
It's been good. But no, the highlight really was the wedding.
not
the journaling, the wedding.
You've expanded your vocabulary so much.
Yeah, now I know more words. Forget about the wedding. But no, wedding, honeymoon, really quite stressful, obviously, because you just build up. We were engaged for like a year. And then obviously with like work and outside work commitments, and then planning a wedding, and we kind of decided we want to pretty much do as much as we can ourselves, which just made it pretty stressful. But
I saw the pictures from your wedding and it looked like the best branded wedding ever.
It was good.
Did you apply like some of your work skills to the wedding?
There was a bit of a brand strategy.
Yeah.
It was very much like we wanted to position the wedding as like funky, interesting.
I got that vibe.
Different to competitors, you know, because I'm obviously at weddings all year with my band and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to see people in just like black and white tux and classic looking and all that. So I was like, I'm going to get an orange suit.
Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah, got an orange velvet suit, which was, Yeah, questionable at times, but I think I pulled it off. I did look a little bit Austin Powers at certain points.
I loved it. It's like the David Beckham and Victoria Beckham purple.
Well, they did feature on the Pinterest board quite a bit. Yeah, definitely. And there was going to be outfit changes. I did actually have another light blue velvet suit that didn't end up coming out. But Aurelie my wife did a couple of outfit changes. And
she looked amazing.
It was, but she did.
It looks a great wedding.
It was a great wedding. And now the quite a lot of learnings actually in terms of like management of workload.
Yeah.
In terms of like trying to make this more career orientated conversation.
Yeah.
Like managing, I don't know how anyone works in events, like fair play to people who are organising events, but it is so stressful. And like obviously the more you take on outside of work, the more that your work can suffer. I think I balanced it relatively well, but there were definitely points where it was like, this is a lot. Like, trying to organise, like, oh, what sandwiches do you want? What we're going to do for canapes? What's everyone going to drink? Managing the budget.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I even had a spreadsheet, and you know me, I'm not a spreadsheet guy. What about you? Any life milestones that happened this year?
Oh my God,
Any adult stuff? Pension? Did you get your pension sorted out?
No, I didn't get my pension.
You didn't? I swear you told me you were going to do that.
No, you got your pension.
I've got that as well.
I meant to do it.
Right.
I didn't. I don't remember why I didn't do it. I really need to do it. I really should do it. Oh, because I was going to buy a house. And then I was like, I wanted to buy a house before my son bought a house.
Right, okay. So no house, no pension.
No pension.
High interest savings account?
No.
No?
No, none of that. God.
Any investments?
No.
Did you buy any Bitcoin?
No.
Nothing?
God, Mark, it's really to make you feel so shit. And I'm like, yeah.
No, well, I feel better now. I feel like you've smashed it in career.
Corporate life,
this year.
It's all, the focus has been pure work.
Hashtag career goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do, like, someone was telling me recently about work-life integration, which I thought was like a really nice...
Oh, this is the new work-life balance,
This is the new work-life balance,
right.
Yeah. So work-life integration is like where you find things that you love doing, so it doesn't feel like work, which is let's look at an age-old saying, right?
Yeah,
if you love what you do, then you don't work a day in your life, whatever. It's like a new age version of that. But it's about making sure that you balance. So, for example, I like playing golf. So it's nice to balance a bit of work with golf by networking.
So you're one of these golfers now that's claiming that it's networking. Actually, it's just...
Do you know what I did achieve this year? I got my golfing handicap down by about 3.
Is that good? I have no idea.
But I will take it.
Yeah, fair enough. No, well, I mean, I feel like golfing is one of those, obviously, Charlie, mutual friend of ours and colleague of mine, she's golfing. Tom, my boss, golfing, won't stop going on about it. But apparently it is quite good for networking.
For the work-life integration.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting concept. I might have to read a bit more about work-life integration. I feel like I've got that down.
Yeah. So it's like if you like to travel, maybe you travel and work remotely would be a very simplistic form of what that work-life integration is. What else might you like to do? Drink, like going to networking.
Right. Love getting pissed, work and get drunk at the same time.
I'm probably oversimplifying that.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I've also noticed this year and other career things that you've done, you are now doing this LinkedIn video challenge.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I went to a networking event. It was like a sales and marketing event, Greenhouse, for those listening. It's on next year. It's great. And one of the speakers that came across, they always get international speakers that come across, talking about their professions. One of the speakers that came across was like, you will do 100 shit videos before you do any remote form of good video. So in my head, I was like, 100 shit videos, like that sounds like a good series.
And you know what I'm good at? Shit videos.
I can do a shit video. So I started a LinkedIn, and also at the time, LinkedIn started promoting video content. So I was like, I need to get on this, like personal brand, need to sell the business, need to sell what I'm doing. So I started doing this 100 shit video series. I'm only on number 8.
Right.
So it takes a long time to do videos, actually. And I'm finding that's the bit I'm doing outside of my working hours now. Whereas usually I'd be able to do LinkedIn posts and stuff within my working day. But now it does take like because I'm trying to get a bit techie with like the way that I do overlays of videos and stuff. Sometimes it can take like 2-3 hours. So yeah, and also you have to find times of day where you can actually film and like it has to be quiet.
And actually stuff you want to say.
And stuff you want to say. I don't just want boring content like hash it all out every day. And actually I take inspiration not from just like LinkedIn, but from like my Instagram reels, from TikTok. Like I'll try and use trends and do something with my video in the work context, but it can be hard. You have to be creative, and some days I just don't feel like it.
Yeah, no,
I just don't want to have my face on camera.
Yeah, it does eat time. I think one of my things, we were going to talk about trends and stuff for next year, but I think it's a good time to segue into that conversation, is that I think sort of career professionals that will win big, especially leaders in 2025, are those that really harness the power of personal brand.
Yeah.
I've been quite good or very strong advocate for it for a while in like written format and whatever, and really utilizing LinkedIn. We're both very present on LinkedIn and stuff like that. But I think the more that people embrace that, the more they stand to gain from it, because ultimately people resonate with people. So if you're a corporation or like yourself, if you were now trying to hire someone, especially in Jersey, loads of people are going to know who you are and what you're all about. And I think the more leaders in the workplace, or anyone in the workplace that's basically just telling their story through content, stands to gain in 2025, I think.
Do you have a LinkedIn strategy?
As a marketeer who sells strategies, I'm gonna say
for yourself.
I'm gonna say yes. I kind of have. So we've been putting together like a LinkedIn leaders workshop for people who are looking at harnessing LinkedIn. Shameless plug. So I do have a bit of a strategy through doing that exercise. It was a really good exercise for me to do. I kind of have what I would call a content pillar strategy, where I kind of have my different pillars that I always produce content around. So for me, it's normally like pillar 1, critiques of existing campaigns that people might put out. Whether it be, I don't know, Jaguar's latest campaign or whatever, Muller's latest campaign or whatever. So that's kind of pillar 1. Pillar 2 is telling the story or the day-to-day kind of life behind the scenes as a marketeer. And then following on from all the reading and whatever I've been done, I'm now kind of just trying to share more musings that I've kind of stumbled across that I feel resonate with me, whether it be gender in the workplace, or whether it be like we were talking about before recording this, all the stuff, issues surrounding masculinity, or whether it's like cool music stuff that I've seen and feel I can provide a critique on, or whatever. That they're kind of my pillars. And then the overarching strategy is to basically maintain visibility and promote myself as someone who knows what they're talking about within marketing and the creative space and the workplace in general. So it's not like a hyper in-depth strategy, but it's definitely like a North Star I'm aiming at that holds me accountable and makes it easier when I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to make content around? I'm like, well, it's either going to be, you know, sort of cultural, sociological commentary, something about a book I've read or sharing quotes, or something to do with critiquing marketing and providing thought leadership around marketing, basically.
Interesting. I don't know if I have one that's as formal as that, but I like to try to like entertain. I like to try and make people laugh, so try and do some funny ones. That's probably one of my, actually now that I'm saying that, I probably do have 3 pillars. The other one would be research. You know, I love a stat.
Yeah, you do love a stat.
I love posting about research. I haven't done them in ages, and I keep thinking in my head, like, I really should do just some normal text posts rather than just videos every time, because you know how people get bored of the same content. So I need to do some research stuff, and then the other is just to educate around like the pay gap or diversity and inclusion, and use that to position myself as an expert in that field. I use that content and stuff. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about, it was somebody who ran a really successful startup into a scale up into now, you know, multi-million-dollar business. And they were saying that the benefits that fame brought their business, because when you are operating at that level, if you've worked on your personal brand that hard and it's helped you to build your business, the impact that fame has on bringing you work is like exponential.
Definitely.
So I was like, well, this seems like a nice North Star vision. That's going to be fantastic.
Well, no, I think that's completely true. I think
we all want to be influencers at heart, don't we?
Something like that. But I think that like I don't think I've ever had a client meeting since I've worked at an agency where me being known from LinkedIn, from podcast, from bongering, from drumming or whatever hadn't helped. So the fact that I do have a good amount of visibility, like even my boss the other day came back in from playing paddleboard, similar to the whole golf thing, networking, paddleboard. Paddle tennis, that's the one.
I know what you meant.
Came back and was with a group of people, and it was like, yeah, they all know you. And I'm like, oh, because I don't really know them. But they were saying like, oh, how, I don't know, they asked after me and said, how's Marcus getting on, and I might have loosely met them, but I definitely haven't like full on met them in person, and they will have seen me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's good.
And another partner of ours was, I mean, this isn't bragging, but he said when we were on a video call the other day, because he's also like a client of ours, but he was like, oh, I wonder if there's any way that we can get your LinkedIn posts into more like articles that we can publish in our publication. And I was there like, oh.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? The repeatable content, like if you're coming up with an idea of something to post on your LinkedIn, you should make it a blog, a Facebook post, a short video, like just duplicate the thinking that's gone into that in different mediums. Like that is such a key way to, I mean, we've talked a lot about marketing in this, marketing now and social media in this podcast, but it's a really interesting topic. And I think it is a trend for 2025.
Trend for 2025, harness the power of personal brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're saying there, you have to get smart with it if you're trying to do the whole personal brand thing and repurpose content in as many ways as possible. And try not to do what a lot of people are doing, which is a massive ick of mine. We always talk about icks, but like the whole, like utilize ChatGPT and AI and stuff to help. But if I see one more person posting and it's like 5 million emojis and it says in today's competitive digital landscape or fast-paced world, or uses word like supercharged or whatever, it's so obvious that you're just using AI, and it's thought leadership you're trying to do. It's not AI doing the thinking and you doing the posting. It's you doing the thinking and then using AI to help you with the post.
I absolutely agree. I'm sick of, in fact, one of my trends to leave in 2024 was the AI revolution.
Right.
And I'm not saying AI is going away, but oh my God, I'm so sick of going to a conference and like the main topic is going to be AI. Like, maybe at the very start of the year, like how long ago was ChatGPT released now? It was like 2 years ago?
Probably longer. Yeah.
Like it was so long ago. Why are we still talking about chatbots? Like,
yeah.
It's so boring.
Well, I think AI in general now is like, people have always cared about outcomes. Right, so it's like when the whole internet revolution happened and everyone was like, oh, internet this, .com boom that, blah, 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 blah. It like really piqued interest and everyone was talking about it. And then it just became like a thing that we all used and was just integrated in life. I can't wait for that phase with AI. I'm just over it. It's like, and I read something the other day, and I'm not going to quote the exact stat, but it was to do with conversion rates and landing pages that mentioned AI. And they're now starting to drop off. So all those people that are like really banging on about on their service pages or product pages about AI enhanced service this, service that, unless you're like really in the tech space and AI is the core part of your product, then just leave it alone. Focus on the outcomes that you're providing. It doesn't matter how you're getting there.
And like be authentic as well. People are not being authentic anymore.
Yeah, it's killing authenticity.
It is.
Question back on LinkedIn and TikTokification of LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Do you hate that as much as I do with the videos? You love it.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. But I do like a TikTok scroll. What I'm enjoying and what I'm not liking about it is when people are not talking about work on LinkedIn. I actually feel like LinkedIn is a professional space. And I know that people are always like, oh, the personal stuff performs really well. And like, yeah, it does if it's like a really hard-hitting topic or something. Like, I don't want to hear about like, this is a bit controversial. I don't want to hear about your kid's graduation.
Ooh, so you wouldn't like my wedding post then?
No. No, to be fair, I'm interested
that
in
way
you.
Maybe
actually, you know, you saying that, I would follow you on normal social media, right? So like if you do a post like that, because I know you, I'm like, okay, that's all well and good. But like a lot of my connections on LinkedIn are professional only. And I'm not as interested in all the personal life stories like I would follow you on Instagram. I feel like it's different mediums. I want to go to LinkedIn to be educated. I want to hear thought leadership. Like that's kind of where I'm going. And now I'm like frantically thinking, oh my God, have I done any personal?
No, but it is giving, increasingly, it's giving like Facebook 2007.
It is. It really is. And also that even like, remember in Facebook 2008, they did the whole like, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
and then you'd be like, well, today I ate an orange and I also went to the gym. I don't know, you put something around like that. I feel like the LinkedIn, like, what is that prompt? Is it, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And now it says like enhance with AI. And you're just like, oh my God, it's just turning into.
Yeah, I mean, I miss the old days of, not the old days of LinkedIn. I feel like it peaked like a year ago when it was like, because I like hearing people's stories, like their journey to where they are, and if there is some life milestone, lessons, or like fine to bake in like a life milestone and some lessons, and like as long as it's loosely career related or whatever, fine. But people just now seem to be, I had to do like a proper cull of my feed recently to make sure I'm actually following people that are still providing me value. And that's why I don't really like the video thing, because it's just, LinkedIn for me was like the last remaining social channel where I'm not just doom scrolling. I'm actually stopping, reading, thinking, and then applying what I've learned.
I see what you mean.
Rather than just like, 5 things about marketing. 3 things about...
Okay, so basically I don't like your post and you don't like my post.
Yeah, essentially. Long and the short of today is we're now no longer following each other on LinkedIn.
Okay, I want to kind of bring it back to like the self-reflections of the year. Is there any like work accomplishment or goal that you had from last year that you feel you have achieved this year?
I think, a key thing kind of happened. I think I've, without knowing, got far better at being a manager than a doer.
Okay.
I think when I joined the agency, or joined Snap, there was like a 6-month period where I was kind of going through that transition of like being too much on the tools and not actually overseeing and project managing stuff, which is like a difficult transition.
Yeah.
So, and now I feel like I'm far better at like, managing the team, making sure everyone is like on the tasks they need to be on, rather than taking it all upon myself to do it, which is like, the transition between doing stuff and obviously managing loads of clients and things like that. And I've always been, because I'm relatively self-starting, I'd always be like, problem, I'll solve it, whereas as a manager or a leader, you need to be like, okay, problem, I can maybe do that, but I can also, what's the word? Delegate appropriately, build out tasks, manage expectations of clients, make sure briefs are what they need to be to give the creators or whoever is working with me what they need to get it done, rather than taking it all upon myself and then not really meeting the expectations that are expected. And I feel like the last few months I've definitely got a lot better. Tom might say differently, or people at work might say differently, but I feel like I've now got much better. I've always been quite good at managing people, but it's more like the project management side of things, which when you've gone from working client side in marketing, where it's kind of like everyone has to chip in and get involved, to being like, okay, I've got like 10, 20 different clients, I need to make sure that everything's being done, then you have to take a much more managerial role, which I think I'm getting better at.
That's good.
What about you?
It's a hard skill to learn that. I am feeling much more confident in my decision-making abilities, which sounds a bit lofty, but like last year was my first experience of doing a business plan myself and a strategy myself, and I've learned from Leonie doing it. I've learned from seeing other in HR and kind of understanding how to draft strategy, and I understand the technical aspects of creating a strategy. I've facilitated workshops on it before, but actually having the confidence to think about your last year, what's performed well, and then put it into action and plan for the next year, bring in all the financials and stuff. I just feel like my ability in that space is so much better than it was. So I don't really know if I'm explaining it well, and I don't know if it's also because it's the end of the year and like that's in my head at the moment, but I am finding the process of business planning and coming up with new service lines and being responsive to the market and doing SWOT analysis and like taking the learnings from that to actually drive actionable change for next year. I'm finding that quite an invigorating process.
Yeah, more kind of macro rather than micro. It's similar to me, I think, really. It's like going through that, because I think we're both very adept at getting shit done. But it's very easy when you're doing loads of things and getting shit done to kind of not actually put your head above the parapet and go, where are we going?
So true.
What direction are we actually going in?
Great way to describe it. It's like a little meerkat. That's now popping up. I don't know, it's a weird analogy.
No, I think it's quite a good one. Little rat-like creature. That's what we need to all be more like, right? So any New Year's resolutions leading on from that?
Do you know, this is just an annoying way to answer the question. I'm not actually a New Year's resolution person, and it's because if I need to make a change, I want to do it from the moment I've made. Like, if I'm like, okay, I need to run more, I want to do it from that moment as opposed
Oh,
to
right,
like,
so you're not waiting until January 1st. You're like, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to just do it. So I tend to do stuff like that throughout the year. Like, I need to read more books, and then I'll spend like 3 months reading more books, and then it'll disappear for the next thing. So I don't do New Year's resolutions as much, which is a bit of a boring answer.
Any goals?
Can't
Any
think
goals?
of one on the spot.
No. See, that surprises me. I had you down as like
a planner.
Yeah. Yeah, like a proper.
No. You tell me yours when I'll think of mine.
So I've got some like lofty ones that, like, shoot for the stars, end up on a cloud kind of ones. So
I'll meet you there.
Because I've been reading a lot, I'm like, do you know what? I'd really love to write a book.
Yeah. Oh, that's on
which is, so in my head, I'm like, yeah, great idea. Probably not. I need to like bite-size chunk it. So what I want to do is my goal. So that's kind of like the lofty goal. The smart goal is get better at creative writing.
Okay.
So
that's not a smart goal.
Well, get by. I don't know, by.
Give me a time.
By February. But no. So basically, what I'm doing to try and achieve that is like just taking more time when I'm writing to be like, can I make this better?
Yeah.
And then what I'm planning to do is basically go on ChatGPT, be like, give me when I've got like an hour or so at the weekend and I'm sitting there bored, rather than just mooching out and watching Netflix, being like, give me a creative writing exercise, because I did creative writing at A level. And there's all these little exercises you can do, like go to a cafe and write down all the dialogues that you hear that are of interest, or like, write a first person snippet describing the last meal you had, or things like that. So I'm going to start trying to do like one of those a month, where it's like 200 words and just get better at it. And then I'm already on like LinkedIn and stuff, which is maybe why my engagement has gone down, but trying to write more like a writer rather than like just getting it out and posting it, like actually looking at it and being like, how can I make this like have a bit of a narrative, or how can I make this more interesting to read and kind of tasty to read? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I want to steal that as a goal for me too.
Well, become a writer also,
I think we should aim to like at least draft a book in the next year.
Or maybe articles. Should we start with articles?
Because
a lot of the books.
Do too many articles.
Yeah, but a lot of the books I've read are basically the summation of like the chapters are basically compiling articles that have relevance.
I already have an idea for the book. So funny you mentioned this. I've been using this platform. It's a startup called Clio, and it helps you with AI to write your book.
Right.
But I've only got to the stage of like drafting out what would my chapter headings be, and I was really just experimenting with the tool to begin with. So I was like, oh, write about like early stages startup, like what does that look like? What are the lessons I've learned, type thing.
Yeah.
So I started drafting out all these different things, and like I'm not going to write this book, right? But I was playing with the software because it helps you. You basically get all your research, all your like key theories and ideas about it, and put it in, and the AI can help you write it.
Right. Cool.
Which is really interesting. I'll send you a link, and you can have a play.
But tomorrow we haven't been published.
And obviously we were just talking about not using AI generated
No, but that's
content.
a good way of using it. That's enhancing and leaving the fun stuff to you. That's not replacing. That's just helping.
All the filler words, all the filler sentences, like you're giving it the key ideas.
Yeah.
And then
you're doing the thinking still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's easy to use, and it's currently free.
Right.
And we are not being paid for this.
Podcast sponsored by Clio.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you and you can have a play. But I think that's a really good goal for us both.
Yeah, okay.
To have a draft of a book.
Yeah. Well, one chapter I really want to do is problematic role models for men.
Okay.
So if
inspired by your recent reading.
Inspired by my recent reading. Yeah. So if we can tie that in somehow, we can get that in there. Could be an interesting book. Yeah. No personal goals whatsoever? Anything.
Oh my god, this looks so bad. I feel like all of my goals are quite career focused.
That's good. Give me a career focused goal.
I would like to get our first client in Ireland.
Very random. Why Ireland?
Because we are doing pay gap reporting at the moment. We've developed technology for it that takes all the manual process out of pay gap reporting, makes pay gap reporting easy. And Ireland have regulations which are changing next year, whereby if you have more than 50 employees, you have to report. So great market for us. We can do it for all these businesses that have never done it before. But we don't have a presence there at the moment, and it's it's hard to sell a product in a place that you're not physically located. So yeah, that would be quite a nice thing to do.
And then you get to go on trips to Ireland, I assume.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it would be better if it's like Mauritius or something.
Yeah, maybe aim for like a hot
oh
island.
yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, maybe to like Australia or like Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Is that an island? Yeah. Don't know. Geography's not a strong point of mine. Tanzania, Zanzibar. That's an island. We were going to go there on honeymoon, but didn't because of all the jabs. But that's a good place to go. Any other career goals?
No, no.
None.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got loads, but I haven't thought about it properly.
Well, maybe this will be for the next podcast chat then. Stay tuned, guys, because Jenny's going to reel off loads of goals. Okay. We can kick off the year.
Yeah, I haven't done my, year planning yet. So
yeah, to be fair, I don't know that I actually have.
What's yours? Tell me yours.
I don't know.
Yours will inspire me. I'm going to write a book now.
Right, okay, so you're just going to copy mine. Well, I think another goal broadly is to be more present, which the journaling is helping with. Because I'm very aware of how much like the days just fly by. And when we got married, I made a promise to myself I'm not going to be on my phone, just like making content and taking pictures and stuff like that, just so I could be more present and really soak things up. I'm trying to apply that to work a bit more.
Nice.
So rather than like, not that I've ever really been one for like, is it 4 o'clock yet? Am I finished? Like I try and really just throw myself into tasks that I'm doing, but just try and be a bit more aware and present with stuff. So like if I'm sitting there scrolling on social media, be like, is this actually serving me? If I'm in a meeting and being like, am I actually listening right now? So just practice being a bit more present and applying it to like both work and life. That's probably one more. Also just win some more cool clients, because I've managed to get quite a few clients this year that are great and really enjoying doing the work for them. Some in the hotel space, some in the security space, some in the kind of like B2B space, but just some really cool accounts that I can feel like I can help like actually provide real value to, because I love that in work where people turn around like, that's great, and you're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So did you want to talk about trends in 2025?
Yeah.
Workplace trends or workplace well-being trends?
I want to talk about trends that we're happy leaving in 2024.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so my first one I talked about before, the AI revolution.
The AI revolution.
Yeah, sick of hearing about it. Don't want to see it as like the main focus area of each conference. It's I think the way that we're going for 2025 is that we're going to start to maybe see some legislation come in, at least if not legislation, then definitely company policies.
Right.
I actually had a stat on this that was like 74% of HR leaders believe that their organization will fall behind if they're not investing in AI. And I feel like it should be higher than that, right? Like every business will fall behind if they don't start investing in AI and just using it in their day-to-day, like even just doing minute recordings. You can just use AI, do a summary.
With like Otter and things.
Yeah,
amazing.
So much easier.
Great. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a trend for 2025. The AI policies are coming and more regular use of it in larger workplaces.
But leave talking about it in 2024.
Leave talking about it like it's a brand new thing.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
In 2024.
So do the doing in 2025.
Yeah.
Stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, so let me check my list. Hold on.
God, you've really been thinking about these things you want to put in the bin for 2024.
Okay, so I think what happened in 2024 was the death of remote working.
Right. And are you bringing it back, or what's your...
I don't think it's coming back. I think and not because I believe it shouldn't, because I think remote working is fine, but like there's loads more research coming out now that people are only like 30% as productive when they work from home as when they are in the office. I am not saying that I think it should go that way, but we've seen Amazon and like all some like big tech firms bringing people back in 5 days a week.
I just can't help but think there's other incentives at play there to make them publish these studies that have
I
stats
totally agree.
Yeah. I'm not like a conspiracy guy.
It's so
I'm
good.
like, yeah, like you can tell a lot by someone cares about by looking at what incentivizes them. And if you're looking at big business, there's no way that
they've got all the money as well.
They must have fingers in all sorts of like office pies.
I'm
You know?
so on that conspiracy.
They're renting out the offices, they want people in them, and they're making money from it. And they all know we can do our work from home if we really needed to. I think for me, like, I prefer being in the office, but I love the freedom of being able to, like,
yeah, me too.
You know, if I've got a gig in the evening and I want to work from home from lunchtime, or like if I need to just really focus on something.
And I don't know, I would work for a place that was like, you have to be in 9 to 5. There's no point in managing someone on time in the office.
No,
like,
I agree.
It should always be on your outcomes.
It's a terrible, archaic metric that needs to be fully left in 2024. Yeah.
Although, yeah, I do think the trend is that
it's not. It's not.
It's dying.
Oh no.
No. Yeah. I think a trend for 2025 that's coming is more improved transparency for businesses around all kinds of processes. So there's all kinds of like legislation and stuff coming in about like how to report and stuff. But actually, from the research that we've been doing about how to attract talent, the companies that are able to evidence their social practices, like how they're working with the community, how they're monitoring their gender pay gaps, you know, it does help to attract talent. And I think there's going to be a rise of more and more business transparency, because the businesses that are not evidencing what they do in this space will miss out. Yeah,
and people are kind of seeing through the bullshit.
Yeah. Like, if you say you've got an environmental policy, like, what is it?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is the impact you've had on the environment? They're the kind of questions that people are asking in an interview now. So I think there's going to be a rise of that.
Interesting. Yeah. So in the bin, no transparency.
Yeah.
On the table, transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Okay, in the bin, hashtags.
Right. Okay.
Just put that out there. Do you ever search a hashtag on LinkedIn to find that?
No, well, and arguably the keywords should really be in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think they're a thing anymore.
Yeah, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that as a marketeer, there is probably a place for them, but I think it's over-egged, because it's very easy as a quote-unquote expert to sell these things that are like obvious and quantifiable, like 30 hashtags at the bottom of your post, and make sure you tag so-and-so, where in reality, when it comes to any sort of content, making sure that it's like palatable, providing value is going to always outweigh the like little tactical things, you know, like hashtags or like catchy headlines or whatever. And people just need to understand that like organic social is a slow burn. Yeah. Yes, we've had a year of seeing people like get dressed like us. We had that 1 million view. Like, what did that really mean? Other than we got a load of views, like, do you know what I mean? So we've seen a lot of brands kind of blow up by getting virality. But in reality, I think organic content is a slow burn and always will be, and requires time and commitment and actually thinking about it and providing value. And we need to, that's probably in the bin for 2024 for me, is like, forget thinking that these little tactics that people spout in their 5 tactics to blow up on Instagram.
They don't work.
It's not that they don't work, it's just they don't hold as much clout as what they're saying, but it makes for good content in and of itself, right? So they're kind of playing the game. Yeah.
I've got one more trend for 2025, and I'm not even sure I want to talk about it, so review. Because
that's going to get a trailer.
I think in 2025, there's going to be a war on DEI practices.
Right.
I've already seen it in, I think the Trump presidential campaign has had a huge impact. Like, America is such a massive powerhouse, has so much influence, and people are actively fighting over whether women should have rights. Have you seen that that hashtag trend that's like your body, my choice?
Right.
Did you see that in America?
No, I've been across the election to a certain extent, but only like enjoying the entertainment value of like it all.
The wild
in the weirdest and most undark way I can say that. Like, I've just been like, that's America's problem.
Yeah, it's wild. Let's just try and detach from the actual impact that it's having. So I think America is a bit of a like, it's a political hot potato at the moment.
Yes.
The DEI stuff.
But do you think there's very much two sides to this?
Oh, absolutely. What annoys me about it is all this research and all of this evidence that's proven why DEI is good for business. So it increases innovation. It creates more inclusive workplaces. People are happier. They feel like they belong. Like work is much more meaningful when you have a diverse and inclusive workplace. All this research that's come out, these big corporations, and I'm coming back to another conspiracy theory, because they have to spend money on it. They're now going, oh, well, you know.
Well, because hasn't spend on it gone down?
It has.
Yes.
And why? Like it's.
Well, I follow a guy on Instagram. He's like an investor advisor guy, and always making, and I think like providing commentary on that. And he was saying that like investors are concerned with the bottom line.
Yeah.
So,
but it does improve the bottom line. There's so many studies about how you're more productive and profitable when you have diverse boards. And like, I wish I had them all to sit here and reel them off. Like, there's so much hard evidence about why it's important. But I think why it's happened is there's been a bit of like the woke agenda, which is like very, well, we'll take away from you to give to that, or that's the message that people have crafted. It's like, I'm missing out because you're getting to. Well,
I think it's the approach, because whilst I agree that diversity and inclusion is important and would probably contribute to everything that you're saying, like in terms of value in the workplace and bottom line as well, I think people struggle with the like quota approach, because I think whilst that seems to be the common way that people are deploying. I mean, it's not my area of expertise, but that seems to be the common way that like, oh, okay, we need to have X number of people of this ethnicity in our corporation. We need to have this many women on our board, and we need to have this many disabled people working for us, rather than going, we need the best people in the best role. So that, in my view, there needs to be a way where you're still ensuring diversity and inclusion without making it seem as if it's like box ticking. Because I think people feel like it's box ticking. I don't know whether it is or isn't. I don't operate at that level.
I think it's been given a really bad rep.
It's got bad
benefits, that it actually brings. Because also, and the reason equity is brought into it is that some people of ethnic backgrounds might come from a disadvantaged position, whereby if you're creating them with equal opportunities, then they might not ever make it because they've started at a different place. So if you're saying the best person for the job is someone who has 5 years of experience and a degree in blah, 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 the person who might not have had the opportunity to go to university is never going to be able to progress. You're never going to see those diversity on boards.
Yeah, it has to be far more holistic than it is. Because there's all those old, like, archaic metrics again of like years of experience. All of those,
just needs to change.
Or like university, you have to have a degree and like all of that stuff. And
And I think in this, like, get the best person for the job, absolutely, but redefine what leadership looks like.
Yeah, redefine what best is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, stop using like, because it's so reductive to just have a CV and be like, oh, yeah, oh, no. And I'm not here to give a better way. Like, normally I'm like a solution-oriented person. I don't know the solution to that. But I know that is a problem and needs to be sorted out. Because otherwise I think the whole like anti-woke thing is actually going to take over. Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one for another podcast. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about you? Was there any trends that you feel are coming for 2025?
I think more of the leadership brand stuff and personal brand stuff, for sure, will come into full effect. I also see using the Jaguar rebrand as a case study. I think there's going to be this sort of like fusion between rebrands and PR, and people using rebrands as PR in and of itself, whether or not the rebrand is actually strategic or not. But I realized after reacting to the rebrand and being like, what the hell have they done there? That's a bit weird. But then I'm like, oh, I'm a 30-something talking about Jaguar. I don't think I've had a conversation about Jaguar ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of taken the conversations from older people like my dad to be stereotypical, talking about the new Jag X-Type, you know, or whatever, to younger people talking about it. And I'm like, I think more brands will be harnessing that, you know, like basically starting conversations and using that as a strategy, and probably using more controversy to gain traction. And I'd be interested to see how the Jaguar thing plays out, but it was definitely a very good move in terms of
Can you
getting
explain
people talking.
For people like that haven't seen it what it is?
So essentially they've done a rebrand and just thrown their heritage in the bin, which arguably was their strongest brand element. The strongest thing they had in their brand was how they're like a heritage brand, and they've now gone, or now positioning themselves as like, with much more younger audience. They're focusing on electric vehicles and stuff like that.
Okay. Going the sustainable route.
Yeah, rightly so, because I believe their share price was dropping and they needed to do something drastic. I've got a hunch that a PR team was like, let's do a rebrand that really repositions you and gets everyone talking.
And it's values based, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're appealing to some of our values.
Exactly. So I think it was strategic in that they had to do it, but it's interesting to see how they've done it in that now it's all like bright, vibrant, colourful, no associations of like cigars, Jeremy Clarkson, all of that. It's much more like kind of runway, colours, diversity, vibrancy and all of that, which is really interesting because it's a million miles away from where it was. And I think more kind of heritage brands will have to do that, especially if they're doing products that are, like either damaging to the environment or not in line with like what a lot of kind of contemporary consumers care about. That would be interesting to see how that plays out.
See how it all plays out.
Yeah,
we'll have a recap in 2025 and listen back to these and see if it all happened.
Any other trends for 2025? I think video will continue. We're going to see way more video. I'm hoping that we kind of reduce the really high octane, overly edited, loads of captions, kind of emoji thing that everyone's doing with Reels, and just kind of just leave that alone a little bit and just actually provide value. Again, I know I always say that, but I think we'll go backwards a little bit and it'll be more just kind of like videos, captions, talking, interesting stuff, rather than like bells, whistles, cool edits, flame things, explosions.
You're not going to like my next video.
Bit of that, but do you know what I mean? Like make it,
keep
it playful and keep it interesting. And I also think a big marketing trend as well, echoing kind of what you were saying there about transparency of businesses, is just being way more open about what they're doing and people telling their stories and their brand behind the scenes sort of stuff. I think that will really kick off more 2025.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Good wrap up.
Good wrap up indeed.
Thanks for listening to the Work in Real Life podcast. I've been Jenny Winspear.
And I've been Marcus Verrell. We'll catch you on the next one.